here at Salvation Bench, midway point at the Wildwood Trail with the man himself. This is Tanner, the Carbon Frame Destroyer. That short, 225,000 views the first month. KevCentral, not a channel for short, so that's kind of a big deal, and that's a pretty good amount of views for any short. But there were many comments, many questions that people had for Mr. Tanner. I've written a few of them down, and I want to start out, Tanner, with question number one. Were you hurt? Because that sound, was that a femur? That snap, like what was that sound?
That was just the sound of the carbon snapping. Luckily the bike literally took pretty much 100% of the impact, and I just kind of got laid up on the creek bank.
Wow, it looked painful. So you weren't injured at all, not even any bruises?
None.
So that soft creek bank with all the rocks, somehow the frame did all of that.
Yeah, the carbon frame snapping, like under the weight of, like, I guess it just folding, like the fork hitting the bank and then it snapping in, that took it all.
Right there, the head tube, I showed that. I'll put in a little picture here of the head tube where it all snapped, and that was pretty much the damage. I'm going to get into more on that in just a second, but the second question, the second most popular question, warranty. Was that warranted by Trek?
So it wasn't warranted, so to speak, but Trek is taking great care of me so far. They gave me what they call like customer care, and they essentially sold me a brand new aluminum frame for roughly around $800. Like, so.
Wow. Okay, so you still had to pay a little bit.
Yeah, I was thinking I was gonna have to just buy a new bike since it broke because of a crash, like, and not anything that was like a defect under them.
Yeah, not warranty, but not full price. You got
Definitely.
$800 for a new frame. Now, did you get a new carbon frame?
No, I got the original /8 aluminum frame again. That's what I had started with before they warranted me with that carbon frame. But
okay, and we've talked about that a bit, so we'll share that with everyone. This is a Trek /8, and how much did you pay for the /8?
I got it when it was like the new bike at the time, and it was after tax right over $4,000.
So $4,000-ish bike. Now, you crashed it before, which is one of my other questions. Had you had any other crashes? But how did it get damaged before? We'll go to that.
So the original frame, I feel like maybe there was just like a big factory issue with the welds and stuff, because I've seen multiple ones that have been warranted with the same one. Anyway, right below the seat post, there's a little weld right there that had like a micro crack in it, and since at the time Trek didn't have any more aluminum frames to warranty me with, instead of making me wait months or however long, they just sent me their carbon frame.
The carbon frame, which if the bike had been carbon, it would have cost roughly...
the carbon frame is like alone like as much as this complete bike, so like...
So the frame alone, $4,000.
Yeah, they like gave me like a $2,000 upgrade.
Wow. But the more important thing, and I know KevCentral viewers are going to hone in on this, a factory weld defect in the first Trek frame on a $4,000 bike.
Yeah.
Which, you know, people talk about that. They talk about big box bikes. I've had one that had welds so bad that I wouldn't ride it. But one out of gosh knows how many I've reviewed. So any bike can have weld issues, quality control. Granted, less likely on a Trek. I mean, wouldn't you'd say less likely on a Trek?
For sure.
But it can happen on any bike.
And also is like they have that lifetime frame warranty where it's basically like if you don't crash it into a tree or something like that, if it breaks under something that's like that they made, they're gonna give you a new bike.
Okay,
like,
so
no
that's a selling point.
Yeah.
Well, you know what else has a lifetime warranty? A Schwinn, a Mongoose on the frame.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have lifetime. Well, some of them, not all, but some of them do. So, okay, so it wasn't covered under warranty, but Trek did take care of you.
Absolutely.
$800 for a $4,000 carbon frame. I think that's a big plus for Trek. I've always been a Trek fan, even more so hearing something like that, because, you know, you think when you see someone crash, and I thought it was covered under warranty, I thought, wow, is Trek going to see this and then be, whoa, we're going to have to go back and back charge this guy, but you actually had to pay. They just took care of you as a Trek customer. I have shown the short. That's the thing we're talking about in this. But I'm going to clip in here the full version. There's a widescreen version. I cropped that down for a short. But I'm going to give you the full version here just so you can see what some people honed into, a couple things that we're going to talk about. So let's go to that and then come back.
Oh.
The first question, just what happened there? I mean, where did it all go wrong? So just walk me through what happened and where you think it all went wrong.
I was out there with a buddy, and we're, just wanting to get a clip, and essentially I just kind of, I guess, sent it a little deeper than I usually did, and I had my rebound like as fast as it would go. I usually ride trails like that kind of, but it's not the best for big drops. Anyway, I just landed a little deeper than usual, and my rebound kind of pogo sticked me and unweighed me a little bit, and that just set me off, and I couldn't get quite lined up for the bridge, and I was thinking that something really bad was going to happen.
Just oh crap. Everything was fine.
Yeah.
That rebound compressed down, and that was a thing some people mentioned in the video. A lot of people think the frame broke right there when it compressed, because it does look a little odd, but that was you kind of losing did your foot slip off the pedal?
No, I didn't lose pedals or anything. It was just, I just kind of, I guess, got kind of squished down with it a little bit.
So your body went with the frame. Okay.
Yeah, I kind of wish that the bike would have broken there, because if it would have, then I would have got warranted with, with the carbon.
And had that on film. Yeah. So that, okay.
Yeah.
So maybe, we rewind this a bit. Hey, look, and just we stop the short there. This is a good point to bring in the question here of, why didn't you bail right there? You knew something was going wrong right there. People are asking, why didn't you bail? And I think most of the people that are asking that are people that haven't ridden a mountain bike or haven't crashed or ridden it a lot, to where, when things are happening, they happen fast.
Yeah.
So why didn't you bail, especially after that, when you knew you were going to go into the ditch? What was your logic there?
So I knew down in the creek there was some big janky rocks that I did not want to be thrown down on going almost 20 miles an hour.
Yeah, and I'll put in a clip of those rocks.
Yeah.
They don't look as big as they are, but they're pretty huge.
And also, it's like, on my mentality on the bike is just like, I'm going to try to ride it out until it throws me off, because when you jump off going pretty fast, things can get kind of
bingo. Excellent point. That it is always better, unless you're going really slow. When you're going really slow, it's usually better to bail. But riding it out is the safest way, unless you've watched any of my videos. Tire impression in the bank. You mentioned right after that crash, I met you, a couple of days after it? You showed me the video, the sound. I'll never forget the sound. The very first thing that comes to mind. I mean, it sounds like a femur. It sounds either like a femur or you got sniped on the trail. One of the two. Just, it doesn't sound good. But one of the things you mentioned was that there was a tire impression in the bank from where your front tire went into the, and talk about that. That didn't damage the rim at all. The wheel was perfectly and true after that.
Carbon wheel, still the same one.
That's the same one. You haven't had it true?
Hadn't even had it mess with.
Wow, and so those are Trek carbon wheels.
Yeah.
Another bonus there for Trek carbon wheels. But there is, I'll see if I can put this in, you can barely see it, a little notch, and that's where your tire went into the bank.
Yeah.
So to this day, and that was how many months ago? 3 months ago?
Yeah.
3 months ago, there's still an impression in the bank. So he went into the bank, a creek bed so hard that 3 months later, there's still an impression from his tire, and it didn't damage the wheel. I use Bontrager carbon wheels on my Project, my Project Ledge. My Project Ledge X1, I believe, is a bike. And also my Project Axum, I think I even have Bontrager carbon wheels. I'm pretty happy with that choice now, seeing what happened and the fact that it didn't even cause the wheel to go out of true. Just amazing. Of course, really, the wheel just touched and instantly the bike kicked up.
Yeah.
And then did the fold there at the headset. Okay, I'm going to circle back here because I want to talk about other mountain bike crashes. Now, we mentioned earlier that you got the carbon frame because you had broken the frame on the other, or it broke due to a weld defect. But you have had another crash, right?
Yeah, so back in February, on this little part of the Wildwood Park that it's mainly, I guess people classify it as a hiking trail, like the best downhill run that we got out here. Anyway, I was just out there one day trying to beat my own Strava time, like a
Strava, the Strava challenge.
Yeah, it's like I have the KOM on it, but me and this guy kind of tossed it back and forth, and I was like, man, I'm about to really set it in, or he's gonna have to work hard to get it. Anyway, so I make it down like through all like the nasty parts that you would think that that you would crash on, and like literally the very last turn, it's like this right-hander and it comes down a hill, but it flattens out at the bottom. So right whenever I got to the flat, I was going at least like 25 or so, I feel like, and my front tire just washed and just straight in the dirt on my shoulder and immediately decimated the old clavicle.
That only put you out for a couple months before you were riding again?
I was back on the bike 19 days after my surgery. I had surgery a week after the injury, and then I was back on the bike 19 days after the surgery, and then I've been going ever since.
Okay, big question. Did momentum propel you enough to get your Strava time?
No, that was my slowest time I've ever done.
That was your slowest time ever. So you got your slowest time ever while you were trying to beat your fastest time and you broke your clavicle. So you crashed there, injured yourself. You crashed on the carbon frame and destroyed the carbon frame, but didn't injure yourself. Thank goodness. We're all happy about that. Well, it's the internet. Some people probably aren't.
They love
they want the injury. But most of the good people were happy about that. This brings me to a question of your background, because it is the internet. People say, I can't even ride a bike. Well, technically untrue, because all you have to do is stay upright to ride a bike. There's not much to technically riding a bike. But when it comes to trail riding, I'm very conservative. I'm the average guy. You push it more than I do. You push it a lot more than I do. So what is your background in riding? It's not in mountain biking, right? You didn't come from a mountain biking background. Was it maybe, I don't know, demolition derby? Something like that?
Some people may think that. Actually, I used to, well, I still do rollerblading, like aggressive skating. I did that. I started when I was around 17, and I'm 33 now, so I've been doing that for quite a while. But I feel like that's what gave me most of my skills into biking. I started biking, it's been like a year and a half now I've been mountain biking, but I feel like a lot of my aerial awareness and just like not being afraid to drop in transitions and things like that came from skating.
We're talking modern rollerblading here?
Yeah, like, you know, like handrails and big stair gaps, stuff like that.
Right. So not the 80s shorts and the headband,
no, not
like a little bit of music going on.
Not what everybody like makes fun of the rollerblading.
Okay, so no glitter is involved. No glitter. That gives you your balance and your aerial awareness like you were talking about, which has helped you, because only a year and a half on a mountain bike. I mean, of course, you've ridden bikes before.
Yeah, the last time I was on a bike was probably when I was about 12 or so. And then, like I said, it's like 20 years. I have a 10-year-old that he's like, Dad, let's get some bikes, you know? And I went and started us off with some box store bikes and forgot how fun they were.
And you're an excellent example of, I do a lot of budget bikes. I do a lot of budget bike upgrades. This is budget e-bike, full suspension one. But I tell people, if you're going to be doing stuff like jumps, I upgrade my bikes, I think, to a level capable of doing that. You've ridden one or two of those bikes. But I still don't recommend anyone take a big box bike and upgrade it if you're going to be doing jumps. There's a point you wouldn't enter F1 racing with a Honda Accord that you bought straight off of a factory showroom.
Wouldn't skydive with like a parachute that you made yourself.
Exactly. You wouldn't take the blanket out for a parachute. It's something you've sewn together. There's a point where you really need something that's the higher caliber. And I want to ask, because you were gone for so long from cycling, from 12 to 31-ish or something like that, how long when you got into cycling was it before you transitioned from big box bikes to the Trek? And at what point did you start jumping those bikes?
So I had the box store bike roughly 3 months, and it was a Schwinn 27.5. It was like a women's hardtail bike or whatever.
So probably the aluminum comp, women's aluminum
I think
comp.
that's what it was.
Yeah.
So I rode all the trails and stuff out here. There's a few like of the drops and things where I was not wanting the bike to fold in half on me and me get peeled up off the trail. So things that it possibly could have handled, but I just didn't push it to that level just in case, you know. But then whenever I upgraded, I didn't have that excuse anymore, you know, so I just, you know, had to full send it. So
okay, so 3 months into your riding, you made the jump, but more importantly, 3 months into riding, you were jumping.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. From not riding all those years, and then 3 months later.
Like I said, like from skating, like I was at the skate park like every day of my life for, you know, like 15 years. So just knowing how to ride a transition and just like what it feels like to kind of be in the air and stuff. That's just something that, you know, it's like I feel like I had a little bit of, and that transferred over really well.
You never forget how to ride a bike and add on your previous experience and abilities to jump and so on. So that's good to know you're not an amateur, a complete amateur at cycling, because it's the internet. You know, people, oh, you don't know how to ride. You actually know how to ride. I mean, this guy's done a lot of stuff out here. All those jumps that you see me filming that I ride around, and many times I mentioned I've never seen anyone jump this, like those back over there.
Yeah.
Never been out here when anyone jumps them, but you jumped them.
Yeah.
You jumped them. So there's the guy. Well, now we're at the point that a lot of people debated. Some people like carbon, some people don't like carbon. I'm scared of carbon. I respect it, but I'm scared of it. I don't think it's going to age well. I think we're going to run into a problem 10, 15 years with bikes. But having an aluminum frame now, having crashed the carbon frame, if you had a choice, would you prefer to have this aluminum frame or have that carbon frame back, and why?
So one thing that I did like about the carbon frame was it felt more rigid, I guess. Like the aluminum almost has a bit of a flex to it, I guess you could say, but the carbon felt just like really stiff.
Which is the benefit of carbon.
Like, I noticed it like really on like real steep downhill and stuff. But other than that, I only had that carbon frame because that's what Trek warranted me with, and the way I ride and like I know I'm gonna fall and like how rocky and stuff our stuff is, that's just asking for trouble. It is, in my opinion. You know,
many people don't know that lateral carbon frames are strong. I mean, the flex in them, they're stiff. They can handle certain amounts of flex, but they can't handle lateral impacts.
Well, that bike, my aluminum bike, would have broke in the same way. It may not have cracked out like that, but it would have bent in half.
Well, the head tube would have damaged. Yeah, I mean, you've seen it all over the internet.
Just the frame in general, say like that your bike laid down, like if you know, went over and it slides down a big steepy rocky downhill, like there's lots of things that, you know, can scratch little areas on the bike, and if they're carbon, they can be damaged more severely than, you know, like you just get like a little ding on aluminum, and it's not like detrimental to the frame.
We could literally take this bike, fall over onto a jagged rock, and gouge into the aluminum frame, the down tube, all the way down, and you've got a big gouge in your frame.
Yeah.
And carbon, you're damaging fibers. To sum that up, you were saying that you liked the carbon frame, there are things you liked about it, but given a choice, you preferred the aluminum, and you only got the carbon because of a warranty thing.
Yeah, I felt at times like that I was being more hesitant to do certain things, like with the carbon, just because I didn't want to damage it in a fall scenario, as with the aluminum, I'm not so, you know, safety about it, you know. It's like, because if it gets scratched, it's just a scratch on aluminum.
Now we're at crunch time, the biggest question. Have you ridden that drop since the accident? Because I'm not gonna lie, I injured my shoulder coming up. You remember we didn't have the entrance, the easy entrance, you had to ride up that thing, and there's that one route, that little peaky route, right up that. I'd went past that a million times, and for some reason I thought I could bunny hop going uphill over it. I don't know what I was thinking, and I hit it and bounced back and injured my shoulder. And there are two other spots on this trail that I went over the bars. I'm very cautious on those spots. There's one spot I literally stop the bike and slowly navigate around because I have a mental block. Do you have that at that drop?
No, from like the skating aspect, it's like with rollerblading, you fall quite often.
Okay.
You know, so you just have to get up and try it again.
So you're used to just popping back up and going right back out. So you've ridden that not only, and little spoiler here, I know the answer to this, but you've ridden that not only right after you got back on the bike. You said it was one of the first things you did.
That was the first thing I did. As soon as I got this frame built back up, I went straight over here and sent it, you know, like, and I do it every time I hit the trail or whatever.
Wow. And I've got a video I'll put in here just to prove to you that he's still taking that drop and he's making it. To sum all of this up, he was not injured. Trek did not warranty the carbon frame because it was a bike crash, but they did take care of you as a customer and give you a significant discount on a replacement frame, more than half off. A lot of that. You are back on the trail. You jumped right away back on the trail with this bike. It's still holding together, and Also, to backtrack on the warranty, that was the second frame on this bike. So you're technically on the third frame for this bike. So pretty rough on bikes, but you are making it. And also, we're gonna throw a little cheater in here and we're gonna show his fork. I'll cut this in. Show his brand new RockShox fork. Man, it is a beauty. But that's the tail from the short, the pretty much viral short. And that's our boy Tanner. He lived through, he's telling the tale. And maybe we'll see him riding some more because he has ridden a couple of my big box bikes. And I want to get you out on Project Ledge. As a matter of fact, I want you to take Project Ledge, if you feel safe about it, down that same drop. And that drop, it's also worth mentioning, it doesn't look, nothing on camera looks like it really is. Because on camera, I mean, it looks like, going off something 3 feet, then biting it. But that's the tail. If you have any questions for Tanner or anything you want to say, if you're one of the people that wanted him hurt, I'm sorry, he didn't get hurt. If you're one of the people that worried about him, he's fine. He's in good shape. So that's the tail. Comment with any questions you have below or just any statements because there's still a lot to unpack. I'm gonna end this with another clip, the full widescreen version, not short version, just to enjoy it one last time.
Oh.
And also, who was the guy, the O guy?
That was my buddy Hunter.
That was your buddy Hunter. So did he, in the clip, it looks like, in this clip, he just gives this, oh. And then the camera goes down. It just seemed kind of matter of fact with the, oh, did he rush to your aid?
Yeah, he runs over there, he's like, are you okay, you okay? I was like, yeah, but I broke my bike. And he's like, but are you okay? And I was like, yeah, but I broke my bike.
Wow. Okay, so that's the tale. We'll end it here. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.